What's up, everyone? My name is Gabe, one of your relationship coaches over at Relationship Hero, and today we are going to be talking about the process of how to reconnect with your ex after a breakup. Now, this is a tried and tested process that we've used to help hundreds of people reconnect with their ex, so we're excited to share this with you, and you get to know our tips and tricks for absolutely free. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Step 1. Reflect and understand why the relationship ended. Now, this is an important part that you do not want to miss. Reflecting and understanding why the relationship ended is important because it gives you the ability to create actionable steps moving forward based on your situation. Breakups happen for many different reasons, and understanding your specific reasons will allow you to give yourself insight as to how you should react moving forward. So for example, if your ex told you that they felt like you were distant or you weren't giving them time or attention, then that would mean a period of no contact would not be beneficial in your situation. Also, you got to think of it as a way to assess how you played a part in the breakup. Really understand what your role there was and what your shortcomings were so that you can see if those are the things that you want to work on for yourself. But also if you want to see if these are the values that you really do uphold for yourself. So you're also improving yourself along the way. Step 2, acknowledging a brief amount of space. Now, when breakups happen, there are a lot of intense emotions that you and your ex are going to feel. So it's important to have that space apart so that these intense emotions can subside and you can start thinking rationally about the situation. It's also going to give you some time to reflect and understand what had happened and what led up to the breakup. After some space, it's important to acknowledge the time apart through a brief message. Now, this brief message should let your ex know that you accept your situation with them and that you're acknowledging that you had your own mistakes and shortcomings in the relationship that led to the breakup. And you also want to apologize for the pain you've caused them, and that after that reflective period, you want to show them that now you really want to work on improving yourself as a person and as a partner, and hopefully reconnect and rekindle that relationship with them in the future. But if you are going to be taking some space or go through a no contact period with them, it's important to let them know about that as well. So this is the perfect opportunity for you to let them know that you're going to be, taking that time apart and you won't be contacting them in the near future. Step 3, the no contact period. Most breakups are going to need a period of no contact, and here is the list of reasons why. The first reason is because you need some time and your ex needs some time to really focus on yourselves and the things you want to work on and improve on for yourselves. The second reason is because you really want to have some time to reflect on the relationship and the good and bad dynamics that you and your ex had. The third reason is because you want to have that objective perspective on the relationship, about the breakup, about yourself, and even about your ex. The fourth reason is because you also want to give that time and space for both of you to heal from the negative emotions that you're feeling from the breakup. When you go through a breakup, there's a lot of that bad taste that's left in your mouth. And that no contact period allows that bad taste to pretty much go away. So you get to heal from that very emotional state and really kind of like progress towards that natural, normal baseline level of emotions again. And finally, the fifth reason why the no contact period is necessary for most relationships, it's because you want to give that opportunity for your ex to miss you, right? You want to give them that space as an individual. And when they realize that they need you in that space, they're going to start missing you a little bit more. Now, the standard time for the no contact period is 30 days, but of course, this is going to vary depending on your situation, and that's why it's so important for you to really start this process with step number 1. Also, it's important to understand that it really depends on how things play out. So clearly, if your ex is the one that reaches out to you with a positive tone, you don't want to shut them out just because you want to stick to that no contact period, right? So you want to understand that if your ex is the one that reaches out to you and says, hey, I want to reconnect, then definitely if you're ready for that situation, then let yourself connect and reconnect with your ex even before that 30-day period is over. Now, I know it's going to be very daunting to have this no contact period where you're not going to be able to text, call, talk, or even contact your ex through any form of social media. Now, I know it can also get very hard, especially for people with anxiety, or if you feel vulnerable, or if you feel lonely at night, or even if you've had one too many drinks and you have a bad habit of contacting your ex, right? So, whatever the case may be, it really is just about practicing that mindfulness and remembering why you have this no contact period. Now, we know here at Relationship Hero that it can get challenging. So here are some tips, especially that I give to my clients when they feel like they have that temporary urge to contact their ex. So one thing is that you can start working out. You can start building that fitness regimen and focusing on yourself. You can also focus on rebuilding and rekindling relationships and reconnecting with old friends and family members. You can also dine out, order takeout your favorite food, or learn how to cook your favorite food even. You can also pick up a new hobby, learn something new, do some DIY projects, some home improvement projects. So most of these things are just going to keep you busy and keep your mind preoccupied. But there are really just a lot of ways to keep you distracted. And the best thing to do is to really focus on yourself. And that's going to lead us into the next step. Step 4, focusing on self-improvement. Now that you have more time and more free time, try to fill that time in by focusing on self-improvement. Now, not only will this, make you a better person in general, but it's also going to increase your chances of getting your ex back because you're going to look and be a more attractive person at the end of the day. Like I mentioned earlier, the best distractions are the ones that empower you to further and make you come out a better person and a happier and healthier person and even a romantic partner. So some of the things that you can do to focus on self-improvement is really try to set and attain those professional goals. You can also start practicing mindfulness with everything you do. You can start finding ways to work on areas your ex mentioned that you need improvement. You also can start stepping outside of your comfort zone and trying something new. So all of this is really going to level up that person you are from who you are to who you can be and that fulfillment of your potential. Step 5, the re-engagement message. So after focusing on yourself and self-improvement, your no contact period is literally going to fly by. And before you know it, you're already ready to contact your ex. So this is the period where you need to really plan out how you're going to message your ex with the intention to restart a positive conversation that can lead to meeting up. So this message should be spontaneous, it should be casual, it should be genuine and easy to respond to, and ideally stimulates that conversation with your ex. So it's a very, very difficult step to get it right. So let's dive deeper and look at the elements of a good re-engagement message. So this message should be spontaneous, it should be casual, it should be genuine, easy to respond to, heartfelt, and really stimulates more conversation with your ex. And it's a very difficult and tricky thing to get right. So let's dive in deeper with the elements of a really good re-engagement message. So the first one is that it has to be spontaneous and casual. And by spontaneous and casual, this means that you don't want to just message out of the blue. You want to show them that, the reason why you are messaging is because something possibly reminded you of them, or, they popped in your mind because of something that triggered a memory of them. And that leads us to the second part. You want it to be genuine and sincere and sentimental. This means that it needs to show a heartfelt, positive connection that you two shared in the past. And that's really going to help bring back that positive emotion. And the next is, of course, that leads us into that positive reaction because you are stimulating it with a positive, genuine emotion and sentimental value. Ideally, this is going to let them make it more positive, and you can even tweak it a little bit more by making it a little bit more funny or humorous and lighthearted in tone. This also means that it needs to be easy to respond to and asks more specific questions about their life. And finally, the message really has to be short and concise so that it can be read easily and there's really no room for mistakes or how that message could be misconstrued. Now, if you need help in writing your re-engagement message, feel free to contact us over at Relationship Hero, because our relationship coaches are trained to help you draft one in a session. So feel free to check us out over there. Step 6, reigniting the conversation. Should there be a response from your ex coming from the re-engagement message, now it's time to focus on continuing that conversation and reigniting that spark. So coming from the basis of the re-engagement message, when you want to reignite the conversation, you want to keep it similar to the re-engagement message, in which you're keeping it lighthearted, you're keeping it genuine, you're keeping it sincere, and you want to keep it casual, and just you want to elicit those positive emotions to remind your ex of that spark you had with them. Also, this is a good time and opportunity for you to insert the self-improvement accomplishments that you've achieved over the time and space apart. And this is going to allow them to see you as a version 2.0 of yourself, and let you, showcase that you are a better person and possibly an even better partner than, what he or she knows of you. Now, this is also a really good time to gauge whether or not your ex is still interested and how they how their mood is towards you. So if the responses are generally more positive, they're receptive, and they try to continue the conversation, then definitely it shows that there is that progress between the both of you, and it's going to be easier for you to get to the next step. But if it's more dismissive or negative, then maybe you should recalibrate your approach, and maybe you can also start managing your expectations of how things are going to play out. So this is really the importance of reigniting the conversation. It's really understanding where your ex is at, letting them know where you're at, and letting them know that there is that possibility of starting this relationship again. Step 7, scheduling a meetup. Now, if you've positively reignited that conversation with your ex, now is the right time to focus on reconnecting with them and scheduling a meetup. So with that being said, you want to match the level of interest of your ex as to how you're going to ask them out. So there are many different ways and levels of investment and involvement that you can ask to meet up with your ex. So for example, if your ex doesn't really feel like they're 100% sure about meeting up with you, then you can casually just say, I'm going to be at a certain place. Or you can make it a little bit more open-ended and let them know that, hey, you feel free to drop by if you're there, if you're free, if you're in the area. That allows that passivity into that meetup. But if you feel like, the conversation that was reignited was very positive, then you can be more direct. You can let them know that, hey, let's meet at this certain place at this certain time. Let me take you out again, and allow them to say yes or no. Now, based on their answer, don't fret if it's a no, because it's really about how you manage their response. So you don't want to focus too much on it and let it just go. Think of it as just an ability or an opportunity for you to reconnect with them. And if they say no, you can re-strategize, and that's where you take a step back, or maybe a few steps back, depending on the level of disinterest that they show. So if they just say no casually, let it go, and maybe you can still focus and go back to step 6, which is focus on reigniting that conversation and that spark. But if there was an outright no, if they're very cold, then it might be beneficial for you to revisit a longer period of no contact, so that they can reset for themselves, and that you can also reflect again on what you need to do moving forward. Now that wraps up our 7-step guide into reconnecting with your ex. Now this is an approach that is a good start or jump off point to give you a sense of direction to where you go, but it also might not work out for you. It really depends on your situation, right? So much like how a doctor wouldn't prescribe the same medicine for a same ailment, let's say a headache, because somebody might be allergic to a particular drug, or somebody might not be responsive to another type of drug. It really depends on your situation, and you really need to assess whether or not this is something that is applicable to you, and you want to kind of tweak certain parts of the guide and the process to really be more effective towards your goal. Now, over at Relationship Hero, we can definitely help you out in your situation and get an understanding of your situation, really tweak that. So if you need that guidance to really understand what you need to do in your situation, feel free to reach out to Relationship Hero, get connected with one of our coaches, because we are more than happy to help you figure things out in order to reconnect with your ex. So that's pretty much it, guys. Up until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you real soon.